What's going on, everybody? This is the ChondroCast, the podcast for green tree pythons and the people that keep them. I'm your host, Justin Smith of Palmetto Coast Exotics. Enjoy the show.
Then even now I use the rain chamber. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
But I've been talking with Harlan and a few other people. I'll feed her one meal and she'll get bloated within like a few days.
Yeah, that's strange.
It's weird.
Did you get any of his supplement?
It's on its way.
Oh, nice.
So what our guess is there's something off in her micro gut biome.
Right.
Where she's not just processing food. Because, I mean, it'll get to the point where you can see, like, the skin between between scales in her, like, lower third, like, right by her tail. And you're like, and it's one meal now. Like, feed her one meal, and it happens in, like, a week.
Even with smaller meals?
What?
Said even with smaller meals?
Pretty small meals. I mean, she's 3 years old. She should be able to eat hoppers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So they're not huge for her, but they're definitely not, like, tiny. But we're gonna try to hit her with some like the Flagyl, and follow up with that supplement and a little bit of probiotics.
Yeah.
A little nervous because I've never done that before, but I hope it works. Cool little science experiment.
Yeah.
Of course, it's my favorite snake, but
right.
that's how life goes.
Naturally, it's gonna be, you know. If anything goes wrong, it's gonna be with that.
Yep.
But
no. Guts for glory.
Yep.
For it.
There's that quote from Fight Club I use a lot when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's he was talking about people not wanting to try things, and he talked about being like the first chimp shot into space. And I don't know. I always think about that whenever it comes down to that. Like, I'm gonna try it. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna try it, and it's gonna be the first chimp shot into space.
Okay, cool. I was waiting for the quote, but that's just the quote. The first chimp in space. You gotta be the first chimp.
Like the first chimp shot into space.
Yeah, they gotta do it.
Yep.
Someone's got to.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well,
so are we starting now? Are you recording now?
Yeah. I hit the record button about 2 minutes ago just to kind of start it off.
Okay.
Figured it's probably easier it's like getting a shot. If I just don't tell you when it's coming, you don't have to worry about it. But welcome, everybody. This is episode 1 of the ChondroCast, the podcast for green tree pythons and the people who keep them. And our inaugural episode is with my boy Luc Myers.
Woo!
Pretty excited. This is a little project I've been kind of tossing around the idea of now for a couple weeks. It was originally supposed to be me and Mark Hager, I think is how you say his last name. But we originally planned on it being kind of how Joe and Melissa do their podcast, where we just do like a live stream. But Mark doesn't think he has the bandwidth to be able to pull that off, and so he just said, go ahead and do it however you want to do it. And so here we are. I have the time to do it. This is going to be its own sort of thing away from the Herpetoculture podcast. Just because there's so many cool people in the chondro community, and there's not enough, really. There's good information out there, but there's not enough there needs to be more resources. And, you have Bill and Buddy who do the GTP Keeper Radio. And I actually talked to Bill about this before I started doing it to make sure it was cool and I wasn't stepping on any toes. And he said, go for it. And I'll get him on here eventually. I got a whole hit list of people to talk to, but we're just here to kick back and talk about some chondros, man.
Yeah. I listened to that episode earlier today with them, Marshall, and Gary, and I felt like a complete noob. I was like, I know nothing. But that was a great episode. That was some good stuff.
Yeah, I listened to that over the weekend while I was cleaning cages and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. There were some good little nuggets of info in there.
Very. There always is. And it's just, I guess, I'm not doing this show to try and compete with them or anything like that. It was just one of those things, like, I wish they put out more. And so I was like, maybe I can help fill a gap and kind of, do one. And obviously, I as a disclaimer, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm doing this show because I know I know everything about chondros. I totally don't. I've only been keeping them realistically for going on 2 years now. So, I mean, there's way more people out there that know more than I that, are way better at keeping these things than I. It's just one of those things, like, I love the species so much. I noticed there's not a ton of really good sort of, I don't know how to explain it. There needs to be more content out there about the species, and so I have the resources to do another podcast. I know how to do it. It's easy to do. Gonna make it happen. So doing it for the betterment of the chondro community, I hope.
Woo! There we go.
Because that's what it's all about.
Mean, there is never enough chondro content. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So the more out there, the better. That's how I feel.
Well, that's what that's why I talked to you about it. Because at first I was like, I really don't know that I can continue, like, make it something sustainable, because it's like, well, how many different ways can you skin a cat? How many different ways, like, what, there's not that much diverse information about chondros and stuff, so it's like, is it really just going to be every episode me asking everybody the same questions and getting kind of the same answers? But after talking to you, and I talked to Justin Wilbanks a little bit, and I talked to Harlan, and Harlan was like, man, do it, we need it. I was like, okay, then
it can't hurt.
That's what I'll do. I got the time. Why not?
Yep. Cool. So how are they going? How's that female?
Going good. Hopefully I'll be having an ovulation here soon. Got some follicular development back on like the 28th of December. It's the 16th of January right now, so I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks maybe. We'll see.
Right on, dude. Right on.
It's nerve-wracking.
Awesome.
I need to get a sim container, and they're out of stock on the extra larges, of course. And so I messaged them and was like, when are y'all going to get more in? They're like, talk to us in a month. And I was like, okay. So,
come on, just go maternal.
I'm really thinking about it.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Cool.
I talked to Harlan about it a little bit. I talked to Justin Julander about it, because, he wrote the book and stuff with Terry Phillip.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, if anybody's going to know, as far as maternal goes, as far as the numbers and stuff, it'll be Julander. And he said, with the mixed results everyone's gotten, he says the only issue is there's not enough people who are willing to try it. Everyone's so scared to do it and lose their female that no one really wants to take the risk. And once again, it's like the first monkey shot in space. Someone's got to step up and give it a shot. And and I get it. I don't know. This female's really big. I think she'd be able to pull it off pretty well.
Yeah, I've thought about trying it with my female, because when my female laid last year, she was wrapped around them perfectly. And I even gave her a bath, and I'd say for about 5 days. I didn't see her. I've heard like rumors sometimes. People say, oh, they'll wrap up the paper towels and coil them. But I'd see her shivering, doing that thermal regulation for about a week afterward.
Right.
Where I was like, oh, man, maybe she had what it took, because she was wrapped around them perfectly, did not want to come off. So maybe next time with her, I'll give it a shot.
Well, it sounds, from talking to Julander, the issues we have with the maternal incubation thing seem to be something on our end that we're not doing. In the wild, they do this like naturally. Like, these things have been doing this for, eons. It's not anything new. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe there's something, that mom can do that artificial incubation just can't. And he's done a study on ball pythons that showed, the babies that came out of maternal incubation were healthier, just in better shape overall. And so I was like, it might be worth a shot, because we often hear a lot too in MVF and stuff like that people artificially hatch babies, and a handful of them just for whatever reason never get off the ground, and some of them roll, and some of the other ones struggle until they finally hit the take off. And I wonder if the maternal incubation thing is really going to be any better as far as the babies go. But like I said, Julander was like, no one really tries it, because no one really wants to risk the female or the clutch or both, and I get that. But he basically kind of said, it's worth trying if you're willing to, take the risk. So we'll see. I still haven't really decided yet. I'll have the incubator ready regardless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be one of those things you just walk in, if she's coiled perfectly, let her do her thing.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling too, just kind of a theory, that we just end up also with a lot of dumber snakes in captivity, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe those wild caught females who can survive till adulthood to actually breed are just a lot stronger genetically than every single snake in the hobby. So that's one thing I've thought about a lot. I'm like, I bet we just kind of have sissy snakes where all of them make it to adulthood.
Right.
You know, there's no real selection anymore.
Nope.
So that's been a theory I've had every once in a while.
That's
why they're so bad at it. But who knows?
I don't know. I just, and even Harlan kind of said a similar thing. He's like, he said he was glad that I was thinking about doing it. He said, because a lot of people just by default are like artificial incubation and nothing else. And I don't know. Like I said, she's a bigger Biak type. So I think if any of my snakes were going to be able to handle it as far as females, which I have her, and then I have another female that I actually don't even know for sure if she's a female or not. That's what she was sold to me as, and I haven't bothered to really check because I don't have plans for her anytime soon. And I'm one of those types where I don't have to know. If I end up with a male, cool. If I end up with a female, awesome. I really genuinely just like keeping the species. So if I have 2 pairs or a male heavy trio or whatever, like I don't care. They're just I just like having them to have them. The breeding thing's just kind of the icing on the cake. But if she was gonna, any of the snakes were gonna do maternal incubation, it'd probably be her.
That'd be cool. That'd be awesome. And I mean, right? She's a fresh import, kind of.
No. She's
well, not fresh, but I mean, she's an import.
She
right?
was an import. She had to be. I got her from a buddy who had her probably 4 years before I got her. And he got her when she was small, so I mean, she's definitely established and just as good as anything that's captive bred in terms of health and everything else. So.
Yeah, dude, maybe she's got what it takes. Because again, I mean, I have a bunch of pedigree snakes, but I really sometimes think, we make sure the whole clutch survives or as much as we can, and there's just no selection for those good genes at all. So maybe she's a fresh import. She's got what it takes, and she's going to be a good mom.
Yeah. Well, then Zoolander kind of put the pressure on, and he was like, a lot of people, the few people that have done it don't really take that much data as far as what's happening along the way, so we kind of don't know where the hiccups are and why it's not working. So I was like, well, that kind of puts pressure on me, because then now I have to, really pay attention to that kind of stuff and write it down, because I do want to, if I do it, I want it. I want to take notes of everything and make sure I pass that information along, because that's the only way the hobby gets better, is sharing the information, not just trying to keep trade secrets. But
oh yeah, dude, you gotta have a notebook and write everything down.
Yeah, I mean, you did that with yours, right?
Yep. Yeah, that was one thing. Luckily, when I worked at GCC or at the community college where we had a bunch of snakes, since there was a bunch of us working there. That was always a thing, because we didn't know who was going to be working with the snakes that day. It was write everything down so someone can walk in and knows what's happening.
Right.
And, I think taking notes and just keeping track of everything is really important. It helps you, and it can help other people in the long run.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of other people that are, they want to try it, but like I said, they're scared that A, they're going to lose a female, B, they're going to lose a clutch, or C, everyone's going to, verbally, quote unquote, light them on fire in the groups or something. And,
what are you doing?
Yeah. But,
yeah, it was actually funny. I think
someone's got to take the risk. Someone's got to try it out.
Well, I actually remember maybe a month ago, someone posted something about maternal incubation, and someone was like, "I just don't understand why anyone would do that. You're putting the female at risk. She could die if you do maternal incubation." And my thought was, she could die if you breed her. Like, breeding's the most dangerous thing to do. If you're that worried about her, just don't breed her. You know what I mean? If that's the ultimate fear, don't even breed. But I don't know. I think you got to go for it. And I can't imagine how cool it is to see those little heads come out of the eggs.
I know there's a few people that have tried it. Like I said, I'm kind of torn. I haven't really made up my mind yet. I got a while to figure it out, I guess, but definitely need to get my hands on one of those sim containers.
Yeah, I think last year that actually even happened too. I remember they were sold out, and I think someone just posted on one of the pages like, "Hey, does anyone have extra sim containers?" And of course, some random guy's like, I have 50. You can buy some from me. so that might be worth a shot doing.
It sounds like it's a pretty regular occurrence. Like they just can't keep up with the demand. All the monitor guys keep stealing them.
No, they work great. And I really like the XL1. That's the one John told me to use, and there's just a lot more space in there. For sure.
And so you bred yours last year.
Bred them last year. Moved this year. Everyone's doing okay so far. And then I'm gonna try again this winter, or I guess winter of 2019.
Yeah, the end of the year.
Yeah.
Are you gonna? You're obviously not gonna do the same pair since you're trying to part with your male, right? Or did you decide to hang on to him?
I still have him. It's kind of one of those things where I am very limited on space. I'm still in school full time, Yeah. And I got a pretty cool animal from John that'll be here in a few months. It's like, ooh. But it's just one of those things where if you find the right home, yeah, I'll sell them. But if not, I sold the Timor pythons a few days ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
How painful was that?
It was painful, but I just don't. I mean, they're so cool. I love them, and I just know like I would want to put them in like a 4x2x2 or 6x2x2 eventually. And like I said, I'm still in school, and at this point in my life, I just can't do that, and I don't want to put them in a tub. I don't want to keep them in a rack here. Like they're so cool. And the females, she's an import, and she doesn't like me too much. She's a typical Timor. And she pees everywhere. But the male is a captive born, and he is so cool, and he has a super blotchy pattern, and that one really hurt. I was okay with letting go of the female, but the male, I was like, But again, I found a good home for him, and luckily I'm keeping him in California. So
yeah,
local.
That seemed like that would be kind of a hard sell, especially locally. Like that's not something that someone in your part of the state is just gonna be like, yeah, I'm looking for a pair of Timors. Like, I'll take them. Sure.
It was crazy. They sold faster. I mean, when I put them up for an hour and I had 5 people message me, I just don't think a lot of people have them. They went so quick, it was mind blowing. I mean,
it was like when I got those babies from you.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like
had them sold in like 20 minutes.
I was like, no shit. But yeah, no, like my male green tree, he's still up, but those Timors were like, boom, gone. And then I took them down, and one guy just kept on messaging me, so he really said he's not going to sell them, and if he does sell them, he'll let me know, and I can buy them back if I'm in a better place in a few years. So it was cool. It works out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did with my cresteds and stuff when I got out of them. I had a majority of them went to friends, and there's one lady in particular that bought most of my collection when I was done, and she's semi-local to me. She's not that far up the road, so it's nice that if I, for whatever reason, if I decide to get back into them, I have access to, those same genetics and stuff that I was working with originally.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like I know I probably won't get them back. I mean, maybe I will, but there is something just weirdly nice about like knowing like, okay, they're only like 30 miles away.
Yeah, like they're not
go see them.
They're not in Vermont or something weird like that.
Yeah. So I don't know why it comforts me, but it does. So that's cool. But yeah, I think what I'm gonna do next year, I'm not sure if it's gonna work. But I'm gonna I would have a baby from Vita, and my Ciroc Kid El Jefe would be 4, but they're just not up to size. I really think it's gonna, with how I've been feeding them, I really think I'm gonna wait till like they're 6. But I still have that female, and I'm gonna try the Soul Train kid. He'll be 3, so I'm not banking on him going, but
I'll bet you will.
Yeah, hopefully. The only thing I thought was like if he's like his dad's Soul Train, he'll get the job done right away. So I know 3 can be a little young. I know some people say I think Christians mentioned that males get it done a lot better at 4, but we'll give him a try. We'll see what he does.
So how many do you have in your collection right now, like total?
Total, I have the El Jefe from Kristen Stewart and James. Then I have Crazy Train from John Irby. Then I have the one from Vita, the Bladder times Rhea. Then I have the male. He's still here. My female from Keith Bean.
Yep.
I don't know. And then I got 4 babies left.
Okay.
And they're rocking and rolling now. Yep. Like literally 3 shed in one day, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
And yeah, and then I got that one coming from John. So I'm like sad about selling the Timors, but I'm actually really excited because it's only going to be chondros. I'm probably going to get rid of that male. And I mean, it's all going to be focused on that project where I just want to produce a black chondro.
That's all I want. And that's always when it comes down to like downsizing. I have to kind of tell myself, like, at the end of the day, what do I really want to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, who is actually non-essential personnel? And it's like, you know, if I ever want to get back into them, these aren't going to be the last, you know, if I end up getting out of Baird's or something, these aren't going to be the last Baird's rat snakes I'll ever see. You know, I can get back into them eventually if I can, you know, I can come back around to that. So it's hard to keep focused when there's so many cool things out there. I've been thinking about downsizing on some of my stuff. I got some corns, and I think my hogs I might get rid of. I'm still kind of deciding. I need to get back on track with the chondros and stuff.
Yeah, there's something so nice about just being like, this is what I'm doing. I'm not worried about everything else. I'm tuning it out, and just, I don't know, it's almost like relaxing. It's weird. And there's also just something great. I mean, when I had a few more, and once you go out of town, even for 3 days, and there's all this work, I mean, I really like having, you know, a pretty small group of just stuff that I really like, you know.
Yeah.
I'd love to get some high yellow stuff one day, but
I like them all, man. Everyone's always like, do you like designers or localities more? I'm like, all of them.
I think that's the thing with chondros too. It's like there's just so many routes in chondros where it's so hard to stay focused. But
I mean, I literally, like I said, I love the species. I don't, you know, designers are really nice. I love them. Localities are really nice. I love them. Like, I couldn't decide. I just, you know, I'm just gonna keep them. Like, I just enjoy them. It doesn't matter.
I just want them.
If it's a Biak, it doesn't matter if it's an Aru or any of that stuff. You know, everyone kind of. I feel like Biaks have become kind of like the. Sort of like the trailer trash of the chondro world for some reason, but man, when you cross Biaks with other stuff, you get some really gnarly animals.
Oh yeah, I mean, and honestly, even just I think you said Justin earlier, some of his Biaks. I mean,
oh yeah,
I think personally for me this year, I was never a huge Biak fan when I first got into it. I really did like, you know, when I started researching localities a few years ago, I was really all about, you know, Surangs, Jayapura, and like, I don't know what happened this year, but I think people have been knocking it out of the park with Biaks. So you're like, oh Absolutely. My God, look at that thing. You know, so I think they're the future, or it looks like it right now.
I mean, they're cool snakes. I mean, you like my female is pretty trustworthy for the most part. My male, as you know, is just a complete ass. My 2 younger ones that are Biaks, I think they're not necessarily temperamental. I think they're just in food mode pretty much constantly. Like if it moves, it's something to eat. So I don't really fault them there. But you know, like my adult male, he's pure hatred. It has nothing to do with food. He just does not like me. But then I have that baby from you. That's kind of feisty. That's also a food thing. And then I have that other female that was sold to me as an Aru. I think she's a cross. But she's completely mellow. She doesn't try to come at me or anything like that. So.
Isn't that nice? Isn't that beautiful? Like, oh.
Yeah, I can actually hold it.
But damn, you're at like 90% Biaks, huh?
Yeah.
Or Biak crosses. That's cool.
But that's, you know, all of them are like all my Biaks have to be imports. None of them were captive bred. And I don't know, like you can buy them cheap, and I don't see there's anything wrong with that. I actually kind of like the buying it and not knowing what it's gonna be and how it's gonna turn out. You know, it could just be your run of the mill Biak, which is still a gorgeous snake, or you know, you could get something that's really like not expected, and kind of like the red one I have now that's in the middle of changing is really retaining a lot of yellow, and I'm wondering if it's gonna keep that going, but I don't know. I don't mind imports.
No, imports are awesome. I mean, again, for me at this point, it's just space. and I don't have it, and you know.
Everyone feels that on some level.
Yep, and I just gotta focus in on this project, you know. Gotta make some crazy babies, but yeah, they're amazing. There's some cool ones out there for sure.
It's just that, like I said, it's that not knowing. You know, you get a little yellow or red neonate, and it's like this could end up being something really cool, or it could still just be a nice snake. Like you're not gonna lose either way. Is kind of the appeal.
Yeah, no, and I mean, even it's crazy. I think, what have I heard someone say? I think I once heard Ryan Young say on GTP Keeper, I thought the cool part was that they were green. You know? And like, a green snake is pretty awesome. And like, it is crazy, especially a few of my first snakes. Like, the first green snake I ever had, I mean, he was like a dark forest green. Where, you know, that other male that I have up for sale now, he's lime green. I mean, it's totally different. So, I don't know. Yeah, there's no such thing as an ugly chondro, in my opinion.
Nope. Does not exist.
Nope.
I mean, even the ones that are like that olive, you know, kind of drab are still... I don't know, there's just something about them. Because, I mean, I honestly think if they weren't as pretty as they are, like, as a species, they probably wouldn't be nearly as popular. Because I thought, you know, ball pythons were lazy and that, you know, you never saw them. But these things, I literally think might be lazier than those.
Well, that's part of the reason why I honestly like them so much. Because, again, I'm in school, and, like, I tell people, I'm like, they are the perfect college snake. You know when it's going to poop. You don't have to, like, if you're going out of town for a week, you just don't feed it for, like, 3 weeks before. You're going to be fine. It's not going to shit while you're out of town. Like, I mean, I had a few it was funny, because I kind of had an opposite story where, you know how a bunch of people have, you know, whatever, they have a bunch of ball pythons, get a chondro, sell everything else, you know?
Right.
I started off with a green tree, and that was my first snake ever. And
swinging for the fences.
Yeah, I just read a lot. It was cool, and it was funny. I bought off Craigslist. Some guy was like, yeah, I'll tell you everything you need to know. And it was funny. So I got the green tree, and I was like, this is awesome. And I would try to get, like, I got a few ball pythons. And I was like, this is not as cool as a green tree. Let's sell those. Try to chameleon.
Well, you set the bar pretty high, though, when you start there.
Yeah, so it's funny. So I kind of would just try to venture out. And what I've started to realize over the past 2 years is just, there's nothing as like I like as much as them, you know. I'll try to like go back, but I don't know, stick with the roots.
My first attempt at keeping chondros was a miserable failure on my part. This was
Oh really? Oh no.
Yeah, it had to be, I want to say like maybe 2008 or 2007. I bought one from Underground. It was a Biak. I kept it in this aquarium that was like taller, maybe like, I don't know, 6 inches wide, maybe a little longer than that, maybe 8. Had it on cypress mulch, had a live plant, had a grapevine, had a heat lamp, like literally the poster child for the kind of stuff you see in the groups of people who buy them from Petco.
What locality is my chondro post?
Yeah. Like I just got this at Petco. I just rescued it from Petco. Like,
yeah.
How is my setup? And it's like literally just start from zero again. Just go back. And so that lasted about a month. I think it had a pretty hefty parasite load because it didn't make it. I actually still have it preserved in a jar on my bookshelf somewhere in my room.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. I don't really like burying stuff, you know. I like to kind of preserve it and have it there, and then it can be appreciated. You know, I'm all about giving stuff back to nature too, but I don't know. I have a weird outlook on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I for sure got really lucky with mine. I think I somehow hit the jackpot and got like this 4-year-old male that was probably the most rock solid snake, or rock solid green tree python. I mean, I think the first day I had it, I like didn't know what I was doing with heat. It was my first snake. I like look at the top perch, read the temperature. It's like 100 degrees, sitting like right at the top. Then I like freak out, turn it off, and then I think like it was in the middle of winter, and my girlfriend had cats. I had to hide it at my girlfriend's house because my parents weren't cool with snakes. and and the cat unplugged the ceramic heater once I bought one of those, so I couldn't see that it wasn't on.
Oh.
And it was like at 50 degrees for 2 days. He never skipped a beat. It was totally fine. And then finally just about a thermostat, and it was easy from there.
Mm-hmm.
Changed my life. But yeah, no, I got really lucky. He's still around. I actually keep in contact with the guy I sold him to, which is pretty
that's cool.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah, it was someone else's first chondro. So I was like, he's awesome. You can't kill him. He's a great first chondro.
He's made it this far.
Yeah, it was like he's invincible. So he's doing well now. So it's pretty awesome.
Well, fast forward like 10 years later for me, and I got back into them. And that's the male that I have now that hates me. And he had to be an import. He got dewormed when I got him. He got an RI not long after I got him. The guy that had him before me was keeping him like an absolute moron. He had him in a Sterilite tub, which is fine because I do use those, but he had like eco earth in the bottom, but it was literally mud. Like it was so water saturated, it was a straight swamp. And the perch he had was, I don't even remember what it was. It was like some weird PetSmart decor or something. It was really strange.
Oh, one of those like bamboo like plastic.
No, it was like one of the little like porcelain trees with the little fake leaves on. It was strange. I traded a pair of caramel carpets I had for that thing.
Cool.
I was like,
I
don't think this guy's gonna go for it, but hey, I'll try it. And he was like, sure. So I met him and took this guy home, and now he's almost 2 years later, and we're still here hating me.
And he did okay because you said you treated him for internal parasites like flagella and stuff.
I use fenbendazole.
Okay,
I
cool.
I used the goat dewormer you get from Tractor Supply.
Whoa, holy shit. Wait, pull it back. So you just went and bought goat dewormer and you just did it yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean I had my roommate / vet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he guided me. I bought it and I was like, this'll work, right? And he's like, yeah, it'll be fine.
Cool.
And I've used it and it works fine. I mean, you can get a bottle of it for I think like $20. And
that is the new one. See, I have never.
It's fenbendazole. It's the same thing as Panicure. Like it's the same drug. They just market it different.
Yeah, it's just a different brand name. That's crazy.
And I've used it on multiple animals and it works fine. It does the job.
So how did you administer it?
I injected it into food.
You injected it into the food?
Yeah, right into the mice.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and that worked well too then, huh? Because
yep.
I think I mentioned to you before the show with one of my snakes, that female, she's bloated, and the vet, because Harlan has also mentioned injecting into the food, and we're supposed to give him a dose of antibiotics to hopefully give her a dose of antibiotics to get that bloating down, and she was like, no, I'm not injecting it into food. I was like, what? But so I think she's just gonna shoot it down the snake's throat. But yeah, but I guess
it's going to the same place regardless. I guess it's just a matter of how much do you want to stress out the snake.
Yeah, but I was just nervous even about just giving the snake any drugs because I used to also work with fish at my old job at the community college, and anytime you try to do any type of medical thing, if one was sick, it always just died.
Yeah.
Like we found the best thing was just put it in a quarantine tank away from everything else, leave it alone, and like in a few months it'll get better, then put it back in the main tank. So I've been nervous about trying it, but you said your male was fine. He didn't have any bad reactions with it. And
nope.
Rocking and rolling.
Nope. And I got a fecal done, and his parasite load really wasn't anything super heavy, so it didn't really take a whole lot to get that problem taken care of. But
cool.
I tried it on I did it on him, and then I had a younger snake, actually the one that was a red neo that I have now. When it got a little bit of size to it, I did very small dosages per my vet as far as megs per keg and everything. So that worked well for that one too, and I haven't had an issue with that animal since. So
Yeah, you should never move. You should hold on to having a vet as a roommate as long as you can, because that's pretty awesome.
I mean, I live in a small town, so it's it's nothing like LA or any of those big cities. Across town here is about a 15-minute drive. So.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, that's where I'm at now. Tiny old Davis.
Yeah.
Small town.
It's great.
It's cool. I like it. I walk everywhere. Don't need a car.
I don't know how people, I went to Atlanta back in May, and I was just the whole time we were there, because we were there for a weekend. I was like, I don't know how people live here, man. This is just, it's chaos, all the time. The traffic and everything. And of course, I come from a place where we don't have that issue at all. So to me, it's the end of times and just chaos. And
you gotta thrive off the chaos.
I don't know how people do it.
You get in the flow.
Let me see. But yeah, this stuff I use, like I said, it's fenbendazole, it's Safeguard dewormer for goats, 10% suspension, not for human use. So if I have worms, this is not what I'll be taking.
Damn it.
But it works fine. I don't know that people realize you can get this from Tractor Supply Company. It's not hard to get, or any feed and seed is going to have it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's cheap. It's hella cheap, as they say in California. It's hella awesome.
Yep, up northern California, especially.
Hella cheap, hella awesome, hella cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I said, it's the same drug as Panacure.
Yeah, cool. And what about later this year? Are you gonna try? None of those Bioc are gonna be up to size, huh? Are you gonna try to maybe put someone with that female?
If it actually ends up being a female, yeah, I'd like to. She's considerably smaller than my female, which makes me wonder if she actually is. I'm kind of waiting for another shed to be able to double check. Actually, no, I think she shed not long after she came in, and I don't remember seeing plugs, but that also doesn't mean anything. So
yeah, just keep an eye out.
I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, she's considerably smaller than the Bioc female. I don't know what I'd pair her with. I really have a hunch that this bigger male I have he's not just all Bioc either. I think he might be a mix of something else as well, but I think Harlan gets tired of me messaging him and being like, dude, hear me out on this. Look at this stripe going down the back, man. I've been looking, and I don't see any other Biocs that have this stripe that goes all the way down. I don't think it's all Bioc. He's like, no, that's a Bioc, man.
For me, I don't know. There's no way to know. Unless you bought it from the importer yourself. To me, it's just a shot in the dark.
It's fun to think about, but whatever. At the end of the day, all you can do is guess.
Yeah, true. I do think there is some validity. I think there's for sure two species, and I don't know. I'm not super into locales, but I completely understand not wanting to cross northerns and southerns. That makes sense to me. I don't care about Mannock versus Jaya,
Right.
That's, but yeah, I think, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's pretty snake.
Exactly. I don't know. There's just, like I said, that female I have was bought in as an Aru. I don't know that it's all Aru, but who knows? That's what it was sold as. Whoever bred it was someone named Jason, whether that was Jason Stevens or somebody else, or Jason Voorhees, who knows? I asked the guy to look into it, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll dig through my old phone and see what I can find, and I never heard back from him, so.
Oh, well. Any other chondro purchases in the future? Think about getting anything?
When I'm not poor, absolutely.
Yeah, man. You've been, I see you, man. You've been bidding on, I think I saw you on the auction. Were you bidding on rhino rat snakes?
Oh, yeah. We got the Southeast Carpet Fest coming up. I'd probably be remiss if I didn't mention that, because Ian Bissell will find me and break my knees if I don't mention Southeast Carpet Fest coming up on February 9th. Me and Jacob will be there. At first, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, but I am going to make it, and I'm so damn stoked.
Yeah, you guys are the sponsors now. You have to be.
We're the silver sponsors.
silver, everyone gets a trophy. What?
Yeah.
Silver, gold, it's all good.
I mean, I told Ian, I was like, man, we want to help out, but we don't make a ton of money. Of course, I say that as I have a room full of snakes and half of them are chondros, and I'm like, I don't have a whole lot of money. And we donated what we could. We said we want to sponsor. Like, neither of us have anything to put up for auction. And so I was like, what can we do? Like, we want to sponsor, but we don't know that we can really afford tent rentals and chair rentals and all that stuff. So, we'll help out how we can. And he said we can work with that. And so we did. And now we're a silver sponsor.
No. And when I heard they're donating to like nidovirus research, I mean, I was like, fuck yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. That was very cool on there. Well, it's nice because they're hitting both. Like, their t-shirt sales all that money's getting donated to US Arc, and I think currently that's about $1,400. And then everything from the auctions is going to go to Nido, that'll be a huge help, I hope.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I don't even know who thought it. Like, that would have never even crossed my mind. That was a genius idea. I was like, hell yeah. But yeah, man, I saw you bidding on rhinos. Come on, dude, Chondros.
Well, see, that's the problem, man, is there's, like, so much stuff, like, the laundry list of stuff I want to get into eventually, like, between now and the time I die, is so ridiculously long. Like, rhino rats have been on my list forever. There's a bunch of different dart frog species now I want, which is a whole nother freaking loophole that we're going down. What else? Like, I want more Baird's rats, because I can never have enough of those. Cool. And then chondros, and that's kind of it. Like, the hognoses I was excited about. They're becoming difficult because they pretty much eat whenever they want to, which currently sits at about once every, like, quarter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I really want to get into the Boiga stuff more. I have my female Cyanea. I lost my male. And it was actually that auction that I was bidding on was $200 voucher for Terry Burwell's stuff, and he does Cyanea and he does the rhino rats and all that good stuff.
Oh, he does Boiga too?
Yeah, he does a little bit.
Cool. But come on, man, Morelia.
I know, it's so hard. And then I have Jacob, over here. He's going to be producing some really nice pop ones, and so I'm really going to try not to try and... I'm sure he'll end up giving me one or two of them, and then I won't be able to do anything with them.
Just have them.
Yeah.
No, they're cool. I held my first one a few months ago, and I was, like, mind blown. Because, like, it was just so much stronger than any chondro I've ever held. And I was like, oh, this thing's, like, really strong. And I don't know, they're from the same part of the world. I'm sure you could keep them in the same room and be all good. They're cool. They're cool for sure.
Yeah, and so then, I have that going on. I have the Brettles going on. Me and Jacob, between the both of us. I have 3 of them. He has his female at his house. We got the Amazons.
You're up to 3 now?
Yeah, I've got 2 males and a female.
Oh, nice.
The male's a pretty decent size. The male's probably pushing 5 feet, at least. But he's so cool, man. He's so mellow.
I just love the idea.
Probably my second favorite species next to chondros, honestly. They're Bretteli are just so cool.
Yeah, I've never worked with them, but everyone says they're indestructible, and just the idea of, like,
they're tanks.
A python you can't kill is so cool.
Pretty much. I tell people all the time, I was like, if you kill a Brettles, you really, really royally screwed up. Like, you had to put that thing in the oven, or you had to put it in the freezer in Alaska.
Yeah. No, it's actually really interesting today. Kind of, this is nerdy stuff, but I'm taking an ecology class, and they were talking about. I had to read a paper about how you can target species or identify species that are going to be more. They're more likely to be affected by, like, global warming. Yeah. And it pretty much just said, like, any lowland under the canopy tropical animals are screwed because they have a really low temperature range that they can handle.
Right.
And I was like, that's exactly my chondros. And they're like, and as you move farther down in latitude, the range that they can handle is just huge. And I was like, bread life.
Yeah,
just
pretty much.
The whole time. And it was literally what they were saying was pretty much exactly what happens. I mean, those chondros can't handle those huge temperature swings, and then just go down in latitude. Those bread life just not even phased.
See, I don't, with Chondros, I really think they're a lot tougher than we give them credit for.
Oh yeah, for sure.
After
I think
reading
they are.
Zoolander and Philip's book, and realizing just how cool they can be kept, in terms of what they experience in their natural range and stuff like that. It's like, man, we really baby these things, because I really think they're a lot tougher than we think they are.
Oh, I think even from that paper, I mean, it was talking about. I mean, I was like, damn, I want to try ambient temperature, because it literally was saying tropical species are at a constant temperature year round, which makes them more vulnerable. They're not used to temperature fluctuation. And I was like, that's the ambient method. Just keep it the same temperature all year round, and it'll do fine. And I don't know, exactly like the Terry Phillip method. Now school is making me rethink how I keep snakes. It's all bad.
I was kind of surprised that book got the Chondro community kind of divided.
Oh, you think so?
Kind of. I mean, I saw some posts, comments and stuff in MVF or some of the other groups, and people were like, kind of just waved off the whole thing, and they were like, Maxwell's book's the way to go. And it was kind of like, yeah. And I actually had someone asking me about Zoolander's book this morning. And she was like, is this worth getting? And I said, absolutely. I said, to me, like, that book was a complete game changer. Like, to me, that book completely rewrote the rules on chondros and how we're keeping them and how we need to pay less attention to, the exact temperatures we need to be keeping them at, and, how much are we misting them and that kind of thing. And I told her also, I said, if if you're going to get that, get Maxwell's book too, because Maxwell's book still has a ton of information that's still relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's that book has a ton of great info in it. It's not, outdated or anything like that. Some of it is, but I said, if you read both of them, I feel like you cover the spectrum pretty well as far as, that's kind of the two worlds sort of come together there as far as the natural history and the captive care, with both of those.
I was about to say, you could get rid of the whole captive care part of the Justin Zoolander book to me. And that natural history part would be worth it alone. I mean, that was my favorite part. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. And it really does kind of make you think. And then it's awesome how they do tie it in to the captive part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the captive part's great. But yeah, that natural history section was like, because I had a bunch of those papers. And reading scientific papers sometimes can be a little like,
dry,
Yeah. And they just condensed it and it was great, It was awesome.
But it was so surprising because there's just so many people that were like, we've been keeping them the same way like Maxwell has for the last 20 years and they're doing fine. It's like, if that works, that works. Like, that's fine. But to just kind of wave off like, oh, all this data on where they actually come from and where they're thriving. Nah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, again, whatever works. But yeah, no, it is crazy. Some people don't want to change, but...
And, more power to them. If it's working, it's working.
True.
But to just be like, if someone asks about the book and they're going to be like, you're better off getting Maxwell's, they'd be like, you're actually better off just buying both.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're just limiting yourself. Yeah, to be like, I'm not even going to look at it. Yeah, then you're just being ignorant. Because, I mean, you can't argue that, like, Terry Phillips is the man.
Right.
You got to be like, come on.
Well, it's like... There's, 3 books on chondros right now? There's that one, Maxwell's, and then that one that has, like, the one on green trees and emeralds.
Oh, I've never looked at that book.
It's like 50 pages long, I think. It's cool to have, but there's absolutely nothing in there to me that was like, oh, I'm going to do that. Like, this is totally how you should be keeping them. It's a cool book to have on your shelf, but buy Maxwell's and Zoolander's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that book. That book's great. I actually looked at it the other day.
I've been reading all about it, the ovulation section and all that good stuff. What to expect when you're expecting is basically what it should have been called.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fun times, man. I remember it like it was yesterday. The first ovulation, I was shitting myself. I was like, oh my God.
I hope she makes it happen, man. She got
For
that
me,
serious follicular swelling, a while back, and I was like, I sent you the pictures. And I was like, this looks
she looked
promising.
pretty big to me. I mean,
yeah.
maybe it was just the angle, but I thought that was the ovulation. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, the angle had a little bit of a part in it. And I was like, that kind of makes her look a little bigger than she actually is. But they were both doing whatever they were doing. I was like, I'm not going to disturb them. I'll just take a picture from the other end of the cage.
Have you tried to feed her since then, or just been
I've offered her food 2 or 3 times since they've kind of stopped showing interest in each other, and she doesn't touch it, which is really strange because usually she just absolutely annihilates food. So
sounds like a good sign to me.
I was
and they're not
gonna
interested in each other anymore.
Huh?
And they're not interested in each other anymore.
No. I actually separated male the other day. He's out of there.
Who knows? Maybe it was the ovulation. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen any signs of any shed coming or anything like that. So the swelling went down, and she's kind of back to normal. She's still a little thick, but I think like I said, if an ovulation is happening, I'm expecting it to happen within the next 2 weeks or so.
All right, and then it's eggs, and you just gotta cook them, and then the worst time of your life, feeding babies.
I'm fairly patient when it comes to that.
Oh, that was hands down probably the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. It was not a joke. I was like, you know how you hear stories like people are like, oh yeah, I got really lucky my first clutch, they all ate.
Yeah.
And again, I had 2 eat, and then the other 6 were just, it was an uphill battle.
And it was an 8-egg clutch total?
It was 15 eggs. I built my own incubator, which I lost a few eggs, but it was such a cool learning experience. I mean, to actually start to think about how I would have never thought about how incubators would work until I actually did that. And they're not even that complicated. But what happened to me was I built like a cooler baiter with kind of like heat tape at the bottom, then like a bunch of water bottles and a grate and a few fans in there. And I think what happened with the heat tape up on the bottom was that in the sim container, I was getting condensation on the part of the egg crate that was holding the eggs up. So I didn't even see it at first, but the bottom of the eggs started getting wet. Like,
oh, yeah.
I was like, these look weird. And then I sent a picture to someone, and they're like, the egg crate looks wet. And I mean, I don't even know how they picked it out, because I was like, what? And then I touched it. I'm like, it is wet. And then I picked up a few of the eggs, and they were wet on the I could not
panic
back after that. What was that?
Said it was panic.
It was, I try not to panic, but they just did not bounce back. I tried all these different weird things, and then I put them on vermiculite, and I put them on vermiculite where I had a bunch of holes so they were getting ventilation, and they replumped up. And I mean, I think I'm going to go vermiculite the whole time next time.
Yeah, I really want to try that aquatic plant soil that I was using for crested eggs, man, that I was telling you about. I really think that stuff would be great for snake eggs.
Yeah, and I mean, the cool thing is, again, if you separate the clutch, you can put a few in one egg box on that and a few on the other way, see what happens.
It's so porous. Like, I never had any issues with eggs molding as far as cresteds go. Granted, you incubate them at room temperature. You don't put them in an incubator. It's literally just set them in there and wait 90 days. But I never had any eggs get moldy. I never had any eggs go bad. It held moisture forever. Like, I rarely had to actually add any water to it. When it did dry out, it changes colors completely. Like, you can actually see. It's not like perlite where you have to physically touch it to see it. Like this, you can tell when it's dry because they're completely different colors. And like I said, it's so porous. I think it has a lot more breathability than other substrates. So I don't know. I want to try it out at some point. Whether it's with Chondros or something else, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun part. I think that's what it's all about. Just kind of trying new things and figuring out what works for you. I mean, there's definitely some good information to where to start from, but it also is really cool to kind of try your own thing. Like, I think Brian Fisher posted something that he's been feeding one of his lizards only anoles, and I'm like, oh, I want to raise a baby on the anoles and just see what happens. Now I have that bug. Next clutch, I'm doing it, and I just want to see if there's any difference You know, I don't know. It could be fun. So I think that is the cool part, you know.
First
Try
chimp
out
shot into space.
first chimp out in space. You got to do it.
But you know, it's funny when I was talking about the maternal incubation thing too with Justin with Jewlander. I told him, I was like, you know, if anyone's in a position to try this, it's probably me. You know, if I lose eggs, life goes on. You know, obviously, if I lose the female, that would not be great.
That would
But
suck.
it's not, you know, it's not like I have super expensive chondros that I'm working with, you know, and this isn't like my livelihood. So it's, you know, I think I might be in a better position than some to actually give it a shot, you know, with the maternal incubation thing and the APS substrate and all that stuff. So I don't know. Who knows? I also might be biting off more than I can chew with it being my first time.
I think you got to go for it. But, and I think I'll agree with you 100%. There's just, like, I love my designer chondros, but sometimes I do think I'm like, man, I spent so much money on this thing, it stresses me out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, don't get sick. You know, like, there's no way I'm trying maternal incubation with El Jefe. And that kind of does sometimes take away the fun of it, right? You know, sometimes I think if I had, you know, a bunch of imports, I probably would be more willing to try some crazy stuff and maybe learn something new. So that is something I've thought about too, where I'm like, man, I do myself a disservice here.
I think to a degree with chondros, especially people that are kind of new to them and just getting into them, like, we care them to death. Like, we worry so much about keeping them exact, you know, within this box and these parameters that we have to have that we end up overdoing it, and that essentially is what ends up killing the animal.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Yeah. And, you know, I heard that years ago. I don't remember who it was. But they basically said the best way to keep a chondro is to ignore it.
Ignore it and never breed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and like I said with fish, that was the exact same thing. If we had a 6 fish, you put in a tank when I worked at the school, put in a tank alone and leave it alone, and it would usually heal on its own. So I think that is true. And, you know, I think sometimes we think we can control everything. And, you know, sometimes it's just better to let them do their thing. My dad had to tell me when I hated chameleons. I could never. Well, I loved the chameleon, but like people think chondros are tricky or snakes are tricky. Chameleons are tricky.
Yeah, I had some as a kid. It was a disaster.
Oh yeah, and my dad was like, "You just gotta leave that thing alone. It doesn't want to die. Like, give it what it needs and leave it alone." You know, I'd be like, "Oh, it's not eating this."
But when you're a kid, man, and you get a chameleon, you just want to play with it. And I didn't realize until I was much older that those are not play with me pets. Like, those are not play with me animals. Those are, you know, a lot like tarantulas and stuff. Like, the less you mess with them, the better. And I had a little veil that just was really nasty tempered. It was really not friendly. And I was like, these things kind of suck.
Oh really? Yeah, I had a panther, and it was cool because they for sure had. I get why people like them. I mean, she had her personality. She had days where she'd be chill, she'd come out, go on my hand, and then there'd be days where she's like, "Don't even look at me today." You know, you'd be like, "Okay, like I gotta leave you alone today. Do you?" So
I really like the panthers. They don't. My only thing with chameleons is that just their lifespan isn't that long, and it's like
it's crazy. It's like 3 to 5 years, right?
Yeah, but especially with the panthers, like you have these gorgeous blue, you know, red, green, yellow. Like you have these really pretty lizards, and it's like you breed them, but it's like I feel like if your time is so limited with them, I feel like it's kind of hard to almost enjoy them. Maybe it's just because of keeping snakes. You know, we get spoiled with, you know, ease of care and longevity and stuff like that. But it kind of kills me because I wouldn't mind trying to keep panthers, but it's like at the same time, it's like, what's the point? You know, it's going to kind of come and go, and that'll be it. And I guess, I mean, that's anything, really. But
yeah, that's true. But I mean, yeah, even the cresses can last a long time. But yeah, so those panthers, they burn out. And I don't know, I like the panther, but taking care of crickets was scary.
I don't miss that at all.
That literally, again, that was one of those things where I was like, I'm going to try this. And then after like 3 months, I was like, oh yeah, that's why I love chondros. Like,
that's why I keep snakes. I don't have these problems. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's why they're the best, man. Keep the food in the freezer, feed them every few weeks. Easy.
Snakes spoil us, man. I have people like I'd love to get into monitors. I'd love to keep some of the dwarf species, but I'm like, that's a lot of food to feed regularly. That's a lot of space to commit to. That's a lot of attention to commit to.
And my first thought too, when I go, it's a lot of food, it's a lot of shit.
Yep,
like,
yep. They're messy.
That's why I can't do colubrids. I mean, I'm like,
oh
no.
My God, you have no idea, man. These freaking corn snakes and stuff, it's like nonstop. I'm like, where is this coming from? I literally don't even feed you this much, and it's like constant. Like,
every time. Yeah.
The hell?
We had gopher snakes, king snakes. You feed them on Friday, the cage is covered in shit by Sunday.
Yep.
It was,
and then you change it out, and then it's back to being like that on Tuesday.
Back again. Oh, yeah. What else?
I do love my Baird's rats, though.
They're cool?
They're so cool. I don't even know what it is exactly I like about them so much. They're neat snakes. They go through a pretty dramatic color change and stuff, too, and pattern change.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with them. Are they from North America?
Yeah, they're like Texas and northern Mexico. Like cool. Southwestish Texas, if I recall.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if it's because, again, my first snake was green trees, and that's what I like. But anything from Indo, I lose it.
I've always liked the small oddball, easy projects. The wild caught corns and the Bairds and the hog noses. But like I said, I'm thinking about downsizing on some of that stuff.
Come on, man. Focus it in.
I need to. I was having that conversation with myself the other night, and I was like, part of me wants to get rid of everything that's not a green tree and then take that money and get more green trees.
Yeah, what you got to do is you got to focus in on the green trees and figure out what's your favorite and just focus in on that. And only do that. I don't know. It's cool.
I want them all. We all want them all. Everyone wants them all. There's a hit list of people that I want to get snakes from. Irby being one of them.
He's the man.
But I feel like it's all out of my tax bracket.
Just save up. Do the quality, not quantity. Right?
Yeah.
That's what
But that's my
PayPal credits for.
That's my overall sort of plan is I'm going to have this first clutch, raise up babies for a couple months to a year, decide what I want to hold on to, and then sell whatever's, not that. And then take that money, roll it into higher quality animals, and then just kind of keep that pyramid going and have it sort of pay for itself. And I've told friends, I'm in absolutely no rush. I tell Jacob all the time, I got the rest of my life to do this. So I'm in absolutely no hurry.
Yeah, and if Chondros have taught me anything that I can apply to life, it's patience. How important patience is and how, just taking things slow usually can work out. So, yeah, for sure. Just do it the right way. I'm hoping to, if I ever get some money from these guys, I want to get some Bolins.
Yeah.
That's the dream. That's one day when I have my own house, I'm never going to move. I'll just get a pair, just keep them in that same cage forever, see if anything ever happens. I don't know. They're so cool.
The Riverbank Zoo here, that's up in Columbia, which is a little upstate. They have I think they have a trio of them. Cool. And man, every time I go there, I end up staring at those things for half an hour. They're just so cool. So pretty.
Yeah, Bolins either two next ones maybe, or Bolins, or I saw rough scale at the LA Zoo a few months ago for the first time in person, and that blew my mind.
Yeah, those are at the top of Jacob's list right now after Scrubs.
They're cool.
If I ended up getting the cash together, I'd go in with him on a pair of those in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, it was so cool. It's literally a brown chondro that's lumpy, and it had the one at the zoo. I don't know if it was the lighting or if I was starstruck, but the blue eyes on the thing were whoo! It was so awesome, and they had it in it was on some perches climbing around. oh, it was game over.
And that was something I didn't realize until I read Julander's book too, is that those are the closest relatives to Chondros out of all the Morelia stuff, which was weird because I never, that was like probably would have been the last species you would have guessed that they would have branched off from. But I guess from a like anatomical standpoint, they look really similar. From a behavioral standpoint, they seem pretty similar. But it's really neat to see that there's guys out there now that are, they're becoming more and more. There's more people working with them now than there were, 10 years ago or whatever. So it's nice to see those gaining some traction.
Yeah, those are awesome. And then since they're related, of course you can breed them together.
Yeah, hybrids.
I'm just kidding. That's the best part, right?
Call them rough greens.
You'll get sterile babies, hopefully, huh?
Yeah. What is your stance on the hybrid thing? Like the Carpondros, as far as like the green tree hybrids.
So when I first started getting into them, I was like, wow, that's badass. I want one. And then I read an article, I think it was for National Geographic, and it was just talking about cat hybrids and like big cat hybrids that like people like have
ligers
in, like, Miami. Yeah. And it was an article talking about just how terrible they are. They do nothing for conservation. Usually the animals end up with all these weird health problems once they're old. Mm-hmm. And it's terrible for the animal usually too. And it was just talking about how useless and bad it is. And then I was kind of against them. And then I listened to, I think, what's Selective Scales?
Yeah, Tony Jerome.
Tony, he was on, I think he was on Port City Pythons. Mm-hmm. And he was just so psyched about them. And, I think he was doing them the right way. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? And the way he was doing where he's picking cool snakes, I was like, okay, I respect the shit out of that. Like, that's badass. It wasn't just like, oh, I got this carpet that I got at Petco and I got, So I think everyone should do what they do. And I think if you're passionate about what you're doing, you're just trying to do something awesome, then hell yeah, go for it. I don't know if I'd ever do it. I've thought about it. I've been like, oh, maybe if I got one, but I don't think I'm ever going to do it. I don't think I'm ever going to have room for carpets or anything like that. Yeah, I don't even know what I would put with it.
Me and Jacob have talked about them, and I'm like, I don't have an issue with them. I appreciate them for what they are. Mm-hmm. My buddy Billy Hunt at Uwabami Reptiles produced some really nice Carpondros. They might even be Jagpondros, I don't remember, but those things look friggin' cool.
Mm-hmm. Those were amazing, actually. Now that you saw this, and that's cool. And again, like there's no way they're going back into the wild. And I know people are scared. What are they going to become? But I don't know.
My issue is when you start getting further down the line, where someone bred that Carpondro or whatever else to another chondro, and so that sort of Carpondro phenotype gets kind of harder and harder to pick out, and just that kind of stuff being bred in and not being really documented, especially it's more of an issue with carpet pythons than it is green trees, because it's going to be fairly obvious, what you bred a Carpondro to a green tree, but with carpet pythons, if you're going for purity, that's very likely those lines are eventually probably going to get blurred, and that's kind of where I have the issue is, just making sure that that's being kept track, being tracked in the lineage, and that it's, made known with the whole thing.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think with green trees would be an issue. I think if anyone had like an 87% green tree carpet, they'd be like, look at my 87% green tree. I finally did it.
87.5%. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to just be like, oh, I have to hide this so I can sell them. Because, I mean, I think those Carpondros go for a pretty decent amount, don't they? I mean,
oh, yeah.
It's not. It's not like, what did I see on the? Oh my God! I was like, when I saw it on King Snake. It was they had what was it? I think I saw the scrub Bolins on King Snake recently. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God! Like, why? Who would buy that?
You know what kills me with the hybrids is the people that breed the crested geckos to the chihuahuas.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not super into the geckos. I had a few because of my girlfriend. But that's a big no-no.
I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. Like, Chihuahua geckos are expensive. They go for... Some of them go for $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why? That's like breeding a Boelens to, some random cross carpet that you got off Craigslist. It's like,
Yeah, it's like, what's the point? Why would you?
Why would you take a Toyota Avalon engine and put it in a Ferrari? It's just like, why would you, like, you have an animal that has like a legitimate value, financially, and obviously that's not why we're keeping them, but I was just like, why would you, I mean, they look cool, but it's like, if I have a Chihuahua and I spend all that money on a Chihuahua, I'm not going to breed it to a Crested.
Yeah. No, again, like you said, where you've talked to Jacob about the, what's it called? About the carpet green sheep hybrids. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna breed my my Soul Train kid to any carpet.
Right.
He's going, he's going to more green trees, like, with a focus. Like, he's here for a reason. I don't know.
But they look cool. I mean, like I said, I appreciate them for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
If I ended up, if Billy ended up getting rid of some of his, and they were, if he was practically giving them away, which will never happen, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take one. They're cool. But it's not going to be anything I'm going to be like, oh my God, I got to go get my hands on one, like, right now.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I don't think I'd ever build a project around trying to reproduce them. Like, I don't know. Seems like it's pretty hard. Again, I know people say they're worried about, them muddying the water, but it really seems like after a few generations, it gets pretty hard to breed them.
And that's what I've heard too, is they start, like, I think after, like, like F1 or F2 generation, it had to be F2, I guess, like, they started having reproductive issues where they're just not fertile or something like that. I don't know, but
yeah, and we actually even learned it. Sometimes I actually think that might be a weird problem we see, and I'm not saying this is, but it's crossed my mind. There's something called hybrid breakdown that I learned about in school too, where it might be F1s, F2s, F3s, F4s do fine, but once you start getting these, pretty far generation hybrids,
there's like a threshold that they cross that.
Yeah. And I've thought when you see those whole clutches of dead in the eggs of chondros, I'm like, is this because
right? Did the buck stop there? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, how many generations are away are we from that? So that's one thing I've thought about when I learned about that. But again, that's totally a thought. I am designers. I'm not saying that's what's happening at all.
No, I mean, it's entirely possible. I don't think it's that far of a stretch with some of them. I mean, you think about a lot of these designer lines that have all kind of revolved around each other to some degree over the years, be it, 19 years ago or even longer than that. It's entirely possible that a lot of these designer stuff are just kind of hitting the genetic ceiling of sorts. But, I mean, that's purely speculation. That's not... We're not stating that as a
that's
fact.
just a thought on circumstances too. When you see the whole dead in the egg clutch, because also I would say there's other lines that are doing great and don't seem to have any end in sight. You know what I mean? I would not say all designers are doomed. They're awesome.
It's something to think about. It's not. And up until 30 seconds ago, that wasn't really something I had taken into consideration. But it would make sense on paper.
Yep, hybrid breakdown. It's a real thing.
You have all these half siblings and cousins, and inbreeding in reptiles is not really something that rears its head until a couple generations in. But
yeah, and I mean, and weird thing too, and this is something too. Again, I'm not saying I have designers. I love designers, but I was taking an animal behavior class last semester too, and they said, what's it called? We were talking about dispersal in young animals, and animals where males and females all disperse from a hatch site or where they're born, that's what's it called? That's distribution. That's resource. They're distributing for resources, right? They don't want to compete for the same resources, and that's why they're all moving away. But when typically, if you see a species of animal where, say, only the male disperse opposed to a female, or there's just sex-based dispersal, that usually is a form of inbreeding avoidance. And I was like, hey, my chondro males cruise all the time and be a lot more mobile, where my females don't move too much. And I was like, I wonder if that's kind of one of those weird things that's going on, and it's hard not to link everything to when you're doing an animal science major. I literally link everything to my snakes. And
I mean,
again,
that's
just
what you got. That's what you have to go by. It makes sense. I mean, that's the way it makes it relatable.
And I mean, again, that's totally a thought. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but sometimes it makes you think, and you're like, whoa, maybe you shouldn't be breeding sib to sibs all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, what else is there? Any other Chondro stuff? What kind of incubator are you rocking?
I got a converted wine cooler.
Oh, yeah. Your dad has one, huh?
Yeah, I have his. He's going to use it for his gray bands.
Man, dude, you got it made. You got the dad who's into snakes, the roommate who's a vet.
Yeah, he's an engineer, too, so I helped him build this, but it was literally like when you were a kid and the car was broken down, your dad was literally like, hand me a wrench, hand me a screwdriver, and you just kind of stood there arbitrarily like, I'm helping. So.
That's the perfect store, man. I'm telling you, you got to get rid of everything. You got all the tools, you got the vet, you got your dad, and you just got to focus on those chondros.
I am very lucky. I'm extremely fortunate. Not a lot of people are not lucky enough to have a exotic vet, even in their town. So,
or even the dad. When you were like, "I'm getting mice from my dad," he's like, "What?"
Yeah, he started breeding mice for all his gray bands. I was like, "Sweet, now I don't have to overpay for him anymore."
Yeah, that's so cool. Do you ever do I've been thinking about trying to start maybe every once in a while doing some live pre-killed. Just for, again, that gut bio.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever do that at all? Or have you ever tried that?
With the bigger mice, like the adult, anything above, a fuzzy, I have.
Mm-hmm.
I really hate doing it. If you've ever had to kill a rat, it sucks because they freaking scream.
Oh, that sounds
and they
terrible.
know what's going on, and I hate it so much. Doesn't matter how many times I do it, I feel like a massive piece of shit.
Yeah, no, that doesn't seem like my thing.
But fortunately, because my dad has his own mice that he breeds, he also has we euthanize them with CO2. Like we have like a gas chamber basically, and that makes it really quick and humane. About as humane as killing something can get. But
yeah,
I have done that, and then I'll just take them to the house and I'll feed them. That a few minutes later, because my parents only live about 15 minutes away, so. I can usually kill them by the time I get home. They're still fairly warm. But for the most part, I just feed frozen. But,
yeah, that's something I've just been really interested in, again, with school.
Except for the male chondro that hates me. He wants absolutely nothing to do with frozen thawed still, so I feed him live and watch him very closely.
He'll take a chunk out of you any day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, like if I offer him anything frozen thawed, he will just nail it like he thinks it's me. But if I put a live adult mouse in there, dude, that thing is gone in no time.
Disappears.
It's so weird. Like he will, and I'm thinking it's just a scent thing. So actually, something I've been meaning to try that I haven't gotten around to yet is taking some of those old shavings that my dad is throwing away from them as mice tubs and taking some of the frozen thawed mice I use and just keeping them in that and making them smell like those live mice, that really strong rodent smell we've all come to know and love. And I really think that might get it to work, but I haven't yet to get around to trying it.
Let him get hungry.
I don't feed him often. I feed him once a month, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm really not big on pumping my adults of anything. All the small snakes, all my small stuff, my neonates and stuff like that, I feed them weekly. But once they get to a certain size, like they hit that adult size, I really slow them down because I'm really not into pumping them all the time with food, and that goes back to the natural history thing. They're not eating every week in the wild. They're completely seasonal, and I'm gonna, I might try that food cycling that Harlan does. That he talked about on, I don't know if you listened to that episode or not, but he talked about his process with that, and it makes complete sense. And Jacob's going to try it with some of his pop ones to see if it makes a difference too.
It worked like clockwork. I mean, I only did it once, but it worked like clockwork. I mean, it was boom, boom, boom. it was great. I didn't do it as heavy when he was like. I mean, he obviously knows what he's doing. I was just started feeding once a week. I know he said sometimes twice a week.
Yeah.
I didn't need to do that, but yeah, I just did once a week and for about 2 months, and then put the mail in there, and it worked. It worked great. Yeah, it totally makes sense to me as well.
See, I went the route of keep them together and wait until you get an ovulation.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fine too, because I will say, because I remember actually I had the female for about a year and a half, and I think it does somewhat happen on an annual rhythm, at least with my
for sure.
very limited experience, where there's for sure a certain time of year where that female kind of, like, I remember for the first year I got her in winter, and I remember I wasn't feeding her because I had recently gotten her, and she looked like she had eaten a rat. She had just got to my house, and I was like, whoa, that's weird. And I actually wrote it down, and then sure enough, a year later, her ovulation, she was building follicles right at the same time. Where it's like, whoa, so sometimes I think there is certain that rhythm, and I wouldn't be surprised if you just keep on getting the mail in there one day.
Yeah, it's bound to happen eventually, right? Huh. Yeah.
Right.
He's digging his new tub with his dragonfly perch and everything now from David. He's hanging out on that thing.
Yeah, I want to try those, but I also just love the wooden perches once they're like, for sure in the tubs, awesome, but once they're in cages, I just love putting them on the natural perches, and it's totally for me.
What wood do you use for those?
I just there was a parrot shop.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A few blocks away from me. And they would just sell a bunch of perches. They were way overpriced, but it's like a block away. Supporting a local store. They have some really cool birds there, so whatever. And I just pick up some perches there. I sand them down. I know some people do. They like finish them and stuff.
Yeah, there's some sort of lacquer they'll use, and then they let it air out.
Yeah, I've never had to do that. It's fine.
But man, I gotta say, these magnetic perch holders from Brahms.
Oh yeah,
these things are ridiculous, dude.
I literally got in, I think, because I just ordered some new cages. I think I ordered 10. They came in the mail today, so I'm excited for those.
They are stupid strong.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I was all sad. It was it was a little bit of a sad day for me, because I thought they would be ready to go, and I didn't read closely enough, and I'm like, yeah! And I'm like, where are the magnets? And I look closer, and it's like, order on Amazon. I was like, shit. So I was excited, and then it was a shot to the nuts.
Yeah,
okay.
these things, I have to actually, when I have them out, I have to be mindful of where I'm putting my phone if they're on a table, because I feel like if I put my phone anywhere near these magnets, my phone's gonna fry.
Oh, you think so?
Dude, these things, yeah, those freaking magnets are no joke.
Do you think they would mess with the thermostat if they're close to it?
I mean, possibly. It's not something I'd be willing to try. But it's something to be cognizant of. I mean, they're that perch isn't going anywhere. When he says those things hold 18 pounds per magnet, he means it. I could bear down on those things pretty good, and they'd still hold.
So it's time to start powder feeding. Let's go. 2,000 gram Chondros on there. Perfect.
Gotta get them the same size as my male Brettles.
Exactly. 38 clutches.
Yep.
It'll be beautiful.
Swinging for the fences. First chimp shot into space.
So you got an ideal clutch size if you had to pick?
I was actually... That was a conversation I was having with a buddy the other day. And I'm actually, if I end up getting a small clutch, I'm actually going to be completely okay with that. I would almost prefer it over a larger clutch. Maybe a small to medium. Definitely not, I don't, 20 eggs or whatever. I don't want anything super crazy. But if I got a modest conservative clutch, I'd be pretty happy with that. I mean, I'll be happy if I get anything, but if I had a choice, something...
Yeah, I mean,
manageable for the first time,
It'll be any babies is awesome, right?
I'm taking what I'll get.
Yeah, man, they were, again, I know I said this earlier, but feeding babies was hands down the hardest thing ever.
I'm really hoping that's not going to be an issue with these being the Biok types, and which have a pretty good reputation of being fairly easy to start compared to others, but we'll see. If they're anything like their frickin' dad, then I am in for a nightmare.
Oh, good luck, man. Good luck. Yeah, I had a few.
It's all part of the fun.
Runners. Yeah. No, it was for sure a good learning. I learned those babies have taught me more than even my first chondro. Like, raising those babies for sure been a huge learning experience, which is good. You know, it's fun. That's what it's all about.
Because O'Kane had a clutch of Biocs, and it looked like he didn't have any problems getting them to get going.
Oh, his are huge. I remember when he posted him feeding a fuzzy, and I was like, oh my God, because I think ours hatched at the same time.
They're getting massive, man.
They were I was like, oh my God, mine is so tiny. I was like a little sad. I felt a little self-conscious.
And you know what I was surprised with is with my red Neo, it was small, and then for whatever reason, I talked to Harlan about this too, like within like a 2-week period, that thing grew so huge, and I messaged him, and I was like, what the hell's going on? He's like, oh yeah, when they get to hit this sort of this size mark, they like their growth just turns exponential. And I swear it was like this thing doubled in size within what seemed like a month. I was like, what the hell? Like, I was feeding you fuzzies, and now I'm feeding you like small adult mice. Like, what the hell?
Oh, that's cool. You just got to skip the hopper stage?
Dude, it's crazy. Like, yeah, like this thing's turned into a freaking beast, and this little yellow neonate I have now isn't far behind it. I think it's going to be hitting that spurt here soon too.
Awesome. Yeah, I have all 3 of my subadults right now are stuck at that hopper stage, and I think maybe I could take the small mouse, but like I told you, she's kind of having those. I'm gonna try treating her first with some Flagyl and see how that goes. But yeah, the small mouse stage, it makes me nervous. That's when they're adults. They grow up so fast.
Well, the ones that I feed, I guess would count as hoppers. They'd just be kind of slightly larger than your average.
Than your average hopper.
Not far off though. It's just crazy, man. That thing was just, even Jacob was like, "This is the same snake?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, dude, this thing freaking exploded.
That's awesome.
I'm so anxious to see how that one turns out because it's retaining so much yellow right now. I mean, obviously that could change at any moment, but I'm really curious. And I posted that on my Instagram a couple days ago. It's it
was like a funky yellow, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like this, like the face is like a salmon pink, like around the pits and stuff. It's really strange. I don't know. And like I said, that one came from underground. That was an import from somebody local that I bought it from, and that's where he was getting his from at the time.
Oh yeah, man, that's got some funk.
We're rocking and rolling now, man.
I hope those diamonds stay.
Yeah.
Damn. So what size perch is that on right now? How thick?
That one is on, I think it's that CPVC. It's that tan colored, like true 1/2 inch, I think.
Oh, it's the 1/2 inch?
Yeah, but it's not like the regular Schedule 40 PVC. It's, like I said, it's the CPVC, which is, if you're in like Lowe's, if you go to the end of like the PVC aisle, it's in a separate section. I think it's I don't know. I actually ordered some more perch holders from Brahms recently, and I got some of the ones I got them just to try them to see if they'd work with this, but it's that, supposed to be like the ones made for the like acrylic perches.
Oh, is that the solid ones where there's no hole in the middle?
Yeah, I think so. But I messaged him and said, hey, will these work with this CPVC stuff that's like true 1/2 inch? And he's like, I don't know. So I bought them just to see if they will. If they don't, I'm sure I'll end up using them at some point anyways. I don't have any lying around, but yeah, it's this bizarre. It's not like I said, it's not regular Schedule 40. It's something else, but that's what I have that one on, and that's what I'll be moving one of the yellow Neos I have up to here soon as well. I got one of the he sent me one of those Draco portals.
Oh, how was setting that up? Because I've thought about trying that too.
It's not bad. Your tracing skills have to be semi decent, which mine are not. But man, that thing looks sharp. Like if you get that in a tub with a light on top and stuff, that thing, they're nice. They're the build quality. You know, that's the one thing with David's stuff that I'm super impressed with is just the build quality is just awesome on everything.
Yeah, when I was going back and forth with keeping the because one of the reasons too with the Timors was caging. And I was like, man, I just upgrading all my cages for my Chondros right now. It's like, oh, maybe I could do the Draco portal.
Definitely worth trying, man.
Timors. And then I was like, but I just let him go. But I thought if I was gonna keep him, the Draco portal. And what's cool too, again, is I use UVB with all my adults or with the 2 adults, and I like it. So it'd be a cool way to keep like a smaller enclosure without spending all the money on an exoteric.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the whole point that he has of doing them. You know, they make a tub look good.
Mm-hmm,
the build, like I said, the build quality on these is definitely not what you would think it would be. Like they're much heavier, they're much thicker, and they're much sturdier than what the pictures kind of would make you think. I still haven't set anything up in mine yet because I'm waiting for those porta turtles to come in for me to put in there. But once I do get a snake in there, I'm gonna definitely be posting pictures of it. They look so sharp.
Cool. Are you gonna use heat tape?
Yeah.
Or some UVB on there? Or are you gonna use it on one of those yellow Neos?
Probably the smaller one. Yeah. The smaller one's due for an upgrade here soon. Anyways, we're outgrowing the 6.5 quart pretty quick.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I got that one when it was tiny. I've had that one for about a year now.
Cool.
But I'm gonna do what I do usually with what I do with my tub now with that red Neo in is I have kind of this Stiegel does this too, but just take one of those Ultratherm pads from Reptile Basics and tape it to the side. And I'd never have an issue with the temperatures getting too hot with those things. I love those Ultratherm pads, man. Those things are worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, I'm totally OCD. I will never have anything hooked up without a thermostat. Like, I'm just like, ooh, no.
Yeah, I mean, with the Zoom Ed stuff and like the stuff you can get on the shelf at PetSmart, like those things are not trustworthy at all. But these RBIs are lower wattage, and man, I've yet to have any issues with them. You know, knock on wood, but we'll see. I use them for everything. I use them for the Brettles. I use them for the rat snakes. I use them for the Amazons. I use them for the Chondros.
That's awesome.
No issues so far.
Ready to plug and play, right? You don't have to do the wiring.
Yep, just plug them in.
That's awesome.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Oh, man. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we're at about an hour and a half. If you're, unless you got anything else.
Let me think. I'm looking at my snakes right now.
Who's your favorite breeder currently? If you had to pick one, like someone said, you have $5,000 to spend on a snake from anyone you could. Who would you buy that from?
If I had $5,000, I think okay.
Let's bump it up. We'll say 10.
I had 10. Oh no, maybe because John Irby's holding on to a few that I don't know if he'd let go for 10, but I don't think he's selling anything. If I could steal anyone's collection, I would just steal all those striptease Soul Train babies for sure. But also, oh my God, have you seen that? That's where I was like, you know what? If I buy, because my plan right now is I got one more snake that I'm still paying off, but after that, no more Chondros until I hatch some more. And I finished school. Like, this is going to be my last one in school. I swear. I'm telling you, the last Chondro I bought was the Crazy Train Kid in 2017. I almost went all of 2018 without buying any snakes, which I was pretty proud of.
I tell myself that all the time. Like, I'm not getting another Chondro, and then one comes along that's a decent price, and I'm like, I can do it.
Yeah,
I'll make room.
Have you seen Clyde Claus's that black-headed canary, that all-black one?
Yeah.
I think it's like a 75% blackhead canary, right, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh man,
that thing is nuts.
Some of those, yeah, and I just feel like for what I got cooking on over here in my project, like that could be like something really cool to bring in, that or any genetics from the sickness too, for that my melanistic project. I mean, that's what I'm focused on, trying to do the melanistic stuff. So yeah, I think either some of that offspring from Clyde claws or some sickness genes would be cool.
Dark horse that Brahms has.
Oh, that would be super cool,
dude.
But and again, I'm also taking a captive animal class, and like I've been thinking about getting all these different locales for outcrossing, and one thing we're learning too is like, domestication really is a process, and every time you bring in new wild, in a sense, our snakes are evolving and slowly becoming their own species, right? And whenever you're domesticating anything, I mean, so some of my designers, a few of them, are like probably like F3s, F4s, and while bringing in new blood might be good, it's also just putting you right back. It might be like 4 steps backwards where, that's one thing I've started to think about. Like, do I really want to do any outcrossing? Should I only work with, captive stuff? And that's kind of where I've been going now. but
there's some of those locales that just throw the weird stuff. The Waminas are notorious for throwing some really crazy stuff, and it's just, I feel like we're only scratching the surface of what some of these localities, really end up throwing. It's so interesting.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, what was that? Trace Clark hatched some Waminas this year. You don't see those anymore. And that one too, I was seriously like, I told myself, no more snakes. Like,
you say that every time, and then something else comes along, and you're like, well, I'm gonna make an exception.
Yeah, or even for the monoquaries. Have you seen the what is his website? Vitality.
Yeah.
Oh, those are cool too. Yep. Those things are smoking. I was like,
yep.
So many temptations.
And that's why, you can't decide between the designer and the locality stuff, because it's apples to oranges. Like, yeah, they're still a fruit, but they're almost not comparable because they're so phenotypically they're worlds apart.
Yeah, but
so just like both.
My mentality, there's just no way I can have all the chondros. I'm just gonna try to stay focused no matter
what. Put the blinders on to everything else.
Put the blinders on, and this is what I'm doing until I succeed at that. Until I make like a completely or almost like 90% black green tree. Once I do that, then I can think about other projects. That's when I can move on.
This is my contribution. I'm done now.
Exactly. Like, that's just, I gotta stay focused. It's hard, but I think it'll be cool. Because I know, people. I know people focus on the blue for sure.
Yeah,
but I don't think too many people have just been like, all I'm doing is black chondros.
It'd be cool.
Or melanistic. So I don't know. We'll see.
Clyde hatched that. I don't know. You see that baby that he hatched recently? That's like the jet black.
Oh my god! Yeah, that whole clutch. And like I've checked every
ridiculous.
Where I'm like, what is the pairing? And I haven't even been able to see the parents yet. I don't know if I'm just on Facebook at a bad time. But do you even know what the pairing was? Do you know?
I don't. Yeah, honestly, a couple days ago, I left every chondro group except MVF.
Ooh, you know what? I might go do that today. That's a pretty good idea.
Because I just kind of realized, like, this is like the one. This is the one everyone's at. Half the time, everyone just posts the same thing in, all these 6 different groups. And I actually deleted Facebook off my phone and stuff too. So I've been limiting my consumption of the global bullshit. But yeah, I was like, MVF is where everyone goes. There's no point really in being in these other groups. I think I stayed in like 1 or 2 of the classified groups, but even then, no one really posts in those. So MVF is it for me right now. And it feels good.
Yeah, I'm in that one. Maybe I'll leave all of those in that Boland's Python group, man. That's just like inspiring. It's inspiring to me. I'm like, one day.
Yeah, I stayed in there. There's like one Baird's group on Facebook that's like for European keepers, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll stay in this one. There's like, there's not a U.S. one, so I was like, okay, someone wants these somewhere, and it's not just me.
That's hilarious. People are like, yes, so exotic.
Yeah. Meanwhile, awesome. I'm like, man, I gotta know somebody in Texas that can catch me some of these and send them to me.
Or even better, you just gotta go catch them yourself.
Yep. I thought about,
Like
it's
a road
strange.
trip.
Like, Southwest Texas is like a place that's on like one of the top of my, like, on the list of places I want to go. It's like that in like Costa Rica.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
And it's just because I want to go find gray bands in the wild, and I want to go find bears in the wild. And then my favorite cigar company, which is Roma Craft. Shout out to Roma Craft Tobacco. Their headquarters is in Austin, so that's like the perfect trip.
Yeah. And then you can just fly to Costa Rica right from there.
Hey, yep. Drive through Mexico if I'm feeling dangerous.
Drive away. I've been to Mexico. It's not that bad.
That's not what I've heard.
Oh, I've been a few times.
I've heard
great.
that place can be rough.
Just go looking for trouble. But if you go out, I mean, my old school actually had a field station in Baja, California. We just drove the whole way, and it was it's awesome. Saw desert iguanas out there.
There's some spots in Mexico that, like, of course, the U.S. media makes it seem like it's just a complete free-for-all and that the cartel's, like, waiting in the trees like Predator to come and get you.
White people.
Yeah, they're here. Tourists. They got money.
Yeah.
Get them. But, like, Mexico and then a lot of the Central American countries are like, if you see somebody on the side of the road, don't stop. Just keep going because it's probably a trap. Like, they just make it seem like don't leave your front door.
Yeah.
You'll get abducted and held for ransom.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe
anything like that.
Ray Morgan can probably elaborate on that since he lives in Costa Rica, but...
Yeah, see, Costa Rica's supposed to be awesome. I've never heard anything even remotely like that about Costa Rica.
There's a lot of expats there. A lot of people, like a lot of Americans retire and go live down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure it's like anywhere. I'm sure if you go out looking for trouble...
Oh, yeah, you'll find it.
Trouble can find you, But, yeah, I don't know.
I want to go down there to look for snakes, and I want to find dart frogs, and... That's such a cool place, and it sounds like it's a really good spot to go herping and doing one of those eco tours or whatever it is they do. And so that in Texas, and that's the funny thing, when we were on NPR, me and Jake, they were like, what's like the one place you want to go herping? And I'm like, Texas. And they're like, really? Like, of all the places you got to pick, you're going to pick Texas? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why.
Hey, man.
It is what it
is.
is.
That's definitely achievable. You know what I mean?
Right, and it's probably a hell of a lot cheaper than flying to Australia or something else.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I really want to just, like, I need to one day in my life, what's it called? I want to go to Africa during the Great Migration and just, like, watch a crocodile just take down a little that's always my favorite part of any animal documentary. I'm like, oh my god. So if I saw that in person, I don't know, my head would probably explode. I don't know.
You'd be cool. Like Steve Irwin that one time he went to the Nile. I think he was in where was he? I don't know, Kenya maybe or something, and he was like right there, like in a sandbar in the middle of the river, like watching all those crocodiles tear into that dead hippo.
Oh, was he? He was in the river.
He was just like right there, just watching him, like just. I was like, what
no. I would be in a car on the riverbank, like wow. I would not be in the river.
Yeah, he was right there in the middle of it, and he was like, "This is so cool." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, but I think that would be one of the craziest things to see ever.
I'd be going to Africa just to look for bush vipers because I'm obsessed with them.
Exactly, bush vipers, and then also seeing mountain gorillas.
I don't know about that.
What? Oh, come on,
dude! Those things could mess you up so bad.
No.
If that thing if a male silverback gorilla freaking punched you in the head, I'm pretty sure you'd die instantly.
But I think they're habituated. I think they're all controlled. There's like a little national park. You go just watch them afar.
I saw that movie Congo, man. I know how this is going down. All right. There's gonna be the laser gun with the diamonds and the volcano. And the gorillas are going to terrorize your campsite and just destroy everybody. Yeah.
Situation. Oh, I don't know. And everyone's pretty friendly. They're all pretty friendly. What's it called? I've swum with what's it called? They call them the beach masters. The like alpha seal.
Yeah.
And that thing must have been 700 pounds, and it charged us
God.
because we were in the water, and they're like, just don't run away. If it charges you, it's just bluffing. It'll
Hell
open its
no.
mouth. And that's exactly what it did. I thought it was gonna bite off my friend's hand, but it just turned around at the last second. Still here. Craziest experience of my life.
And that was when you were in LA?
That was when I was in Mexico. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, if anyone's listening, lives in California, Glendale Community College has the best marine bio program out there. Shout out to them. And they actually own a field station in Baja, California, where there's like no internet, there's no running water. They drop off water on the truck, and you just like go out in nature every day on a
sea
boat.
lions the size of jettas.
Yeah, the 700-pound beach master. You swim with whale sharks every other day. That was a life-changing experience for sure.
I have a policy. Like, I'm 6'4".
Oh,
I'm like 297. So if it's bigger than me, I'm not screwing with it.
Yeah, and the beach master, like the alpha male, would for sure go for you. Like,
no thanks. Well, so what happens if you run?
Well, if you don't get on land, you're good. If you get on there, because they have like a little island you go out to.
Oh, yeah.
So if you just stay in the water, they're just going to charge you. You're all fine. But they for sure, because there was another guy on the trip, and he was next to me. He was the biggest guy on the trip, and that's the one the alpha male hated the most. You know what I mean? So you would have a red dot on your head. You'd be like, oh,
dude, if I'm on the beach and my shirt's off, they probably think I'm one of them. If we're being honest, like, if I was spread eagle on the beach, I'd probably look like one of them.
Got your flippers on? Your
I can understand the confusion.
Right on.
But if one of those charges at me, I ain't gonna just sit there. I'm probably gonna go.
Hey, well, I forgot to ask. So, if you got 10 grand, who are you gonna buy? I mean, what are you gonna get for Chondros?
Ooh. Like I said, if Brahms ever gets babies from Dark Horse,
yeah, that would be
those would be up there on the list. Of course, Irby's going to be on that list. But if I have to pick one... Oh, wait, no. I take that back. If I have that much money and I'm getting anything, it's going to be from Pedro.
Oh, you're just going to pay to get it exported?
Yep. It's coming from Pedro.
Well, yeah. Well played.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fucking awesome.
He's got such cool stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
and I'm telling you, it's crazy because it just shows you how, like, just investing in that, or not investing, but just getting one male, I feel like, can totally shape your collection. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can build a collection off one male. And, obviously you have to have cool females, but, that rock solid male, that can, like, change everything, it seems like, to me.
I just see his stuff and it just blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's nothing else, like, there's nothing else. There's not another Mosaic.
No. That's for damn sure.
Like, that's the one, It's just...
And he's cranking those babies out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just praying I need a male like that one day.
And I didn't... Forrest Fanning just got something from him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what, a small male or a small female or something? I forget, but...
Oh, I have no clue.
That was another just smoking snake, man.
Yeah, the yellow stuff is cool. And, I don't think too many people... I don't know. I can't name anyone who's really like that's their collection. You know what I mean?
Will Banks is really gunning for mustards.
Oh yeah, no, he's killing it. He
yeah,
sent me some pictures the other day. I was like, hell yeah.
He's working on them.
So cool. And they're all pretty much. Well, are some of the mustard? I don't know too much about the mustard stuff. Are they all pure Biots or?
As far as I know.
I have no clue.
But I'm supposed to buy a vision cage from him at some point, which means I need to make the trek up to his place.
Oh, cool.
And so
he's close by?
He's about 6 hours away. I
So
keep
podcasts
trying to.
are
I'm
cool,
trying.
right?
Yeah, I'm trying to talk to Brats about figuring out a weekend where we can get up there. It'd be a
Yeah, that would be awesome.
good spot to shoot a YouTube video and stuff, and check out his stuff. And
Oh yeah, dude, make sure to bring a little extra cash because I actually was thinking about getting one of those kids.
I'm gonna have to save myself from myself, and save me from myself, and just not even bring my wallet.
Leave it at home.
Yeah,
Leave the debit
card at home.
Cancel the Chase app so you can't quick pay. Delete PayPal.
But hey, if I ever get babies and someone's down to trade chondros, like I'm all for trading.
Yeah, trading seems really cool to me.
Like that's kind of the way to do it. Everyone wins.
Yeah, get some new blood.
Yep. Get to change it up. But
oh man.
Hopefully I'll be having him on here soon. We originally talked about getting him on this week, but he had a work thing that had him going out of town, so he wasn't able to get on this week, but he's definitely on the list and anxious to get up there and check out his stuff.
Cool.
So
cool, man. Well, so it's going to be once a week? Is that the plan?
That's my plan.
Cool.
I don't know if it'll work out that way, but it'll definitely be a regular thing, hopefully. Like I said, I got a little spreadsheet of people I'd like to have on. I actually need to add the Bartolini's and/or that one lady that is heading Fish Head Diagnostics.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because I'd like to do a Nido episode and really kind of delve into get a clear explanation of the whole thing and how it, because I feel like there's sort of a bit of confusion as to how that whole virus sort of operates. And, you talk to Harlan about it and he has his opinions, and you talk to other people about it and everyone thinks that it's just like the Black Plague, and I don't know. I'm very kind of confused about the whole thing, and as far as just how long it's been around, how severe is it really, and I'd like to get some answers from someone who actually has hands-on experience with the virus itself and what's going on, and
oh yeah,
cut through the red tape.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure they can shed some light on it. Anything I would be saying would be just talking out my ass. But I know viruses don't pop out of nowhere, so it's definitely when people say it's new.
Yeah.
I know that much about science that isn't true.
No.
I have a feeling it's been around a long time.
Oh yeah, you talk to Harlan, he'll say that virus has been around probably longer than we have as a species.
Yeah, the one thing too that sometimes, I don't know, it kind of bothers me a little bit when people are like, oh well, look at all these captive chondros now. You guys thought you were so, they were so much better, but I bet money that it came from the wild for sure. So I don't know. Sometimes I think people now think imports are clean, and I'm like,
yeah, the whole thing is just so strange because it's like you have animals that carry it and they're completely asymptomatic, and then you have animals that do carry it, and then all of a sudden, they're dying, and it's like, well, what the hell's going on? Like, clearly there's something happening that we aren't picking up on that either determines whether an animal does or does not get killed by it. And so I don't know. I'd like to do an episode on that and kind of get some answers and hopefully help it. Have a show that sort of explains it better for people, and so they, there's less confusion about it.
That'd be cool. I'm planning. That's one of my goals too with the Timors. I'm testing them all. I just ordered a few. That baby came up negative, which was cool. The one that died. I was shitting bricks for a second. I was like, oh my God, it's dead. It's Nido.
Oh, yeah.
And then it wasn't Nido, which was cool. But yeah, that's one of my goals this year too. I'm going to clear everything. I think they're all good. No one got the sniffles with the move. Never had an RI over here. But as people have said, you can have animals that have no signs.
Yep.
But luckily, I've gotten almost all of them as babies, and I think that helps a little bit too.
Yeah.
But only one way to find out, right?
Yep.
I also wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is, again, I don't know, might be totally talking out my ass. No one quote me, please. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's like several strains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it does seem like some people have some that don't affect any of their animals until later, and then there's those ones that just gone. Everyone died.
Well, you
Like,
also have like the ball pythons and stuff that got affected by it too. I'd be curious to see if that was a strain that was semi-novel to just those.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. Like you said, it's weird how some people have them, they never even notice. I think Buddy Buscemi, when he said he had his never even had an RI ever.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, that's weird, you know?
But that's kind of the confusing thing to me is like if you have a snake that's not showing signs of it and isn't having any problems, you know, does it necessarily have to be on like disaster lockdown now with everything else, even though it's, you know, likely had this for years and hasn't had any issues? So it's like, at what point are we saying like this snake has to be separated? The snake is a legitimate threat to the rest of your snakes, you know? And I think that's probably an answer that they don't have yet until they really kind of do more looking into the actual virus itself and the research on if there's genetic markers that kind of determine which way it goes and this, that, and the other. And I really hope the Carpet Fest auction really helps out with that. So we'll
I was about to say, shout out Carpet Fest.
Yeah, only time will tell, but I'm hoping we get more answers to all these questions we have in the near future.
I'm definitely not selling all my green trees, though.
Yeah, me neither.
It didn't scare me. I was like, okay. I'm still keeping them all. No one's going anywhere.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Cool.
Well, man, I have some chemistry homework I need to get cracking on.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. here. I'm beat.
Holy shit. So wait, there's 3 hours ahead.
Yeah, we're 3 hours ahead of you. That's why, man, I love having West Coast guests because it's like I get off at 8 o'clock and I'm like, crap, I got to get home and get everything set up. And then I'm like, wait, it's only 5 o'clock there. I have like plenty of time to do stuff.
I was like, you got time, man. Chill.
Yeah, that worked out because I'm always like, every time we do the you know, THP shows, I'm like, oh man, I get off at 9, like I gotta run home, get everything set up, get everything ready, you know, take a piss, get some water to drink, like. And Bross is just sitting there on his phone hanging out, and I'm like, look, bitch, like get to work and start setting stuff up, and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing, man.
Come on, man, you gotta teach him.
No, I mean, he does help. I give him credit. He does. He knows like where the mic stands and stuff go. But as far as like the hooking up of the electronics and all the wires and stuff, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like that's okay. That's fine. Just sit there.
Yeah, you set the bar now. I'm expecting a carpet cast pretty soon.
Yeah, I told him because he was like, "Oh, are you cheating on me now?" And I was like, "Dude, if you did a carpet python podcast, like I don't care." Like,
Our Poplin cast.
Yeah, a Papayan cast. So.
Papayan, my favorite.
And I'm sure if he knew how to set all this stuff up and do that, he would. And if it was, you know, if he came to me and was like, hey man, if I do a weekly thing where you set this up and you kind of like disappear because you're not going to be on my Poplin show, you know, can you do that? And I'd be like, yeah, man, whatever.
What you got to do is be like, yeah, I set you up a Papayan cast. And
yeah.
Get a Papayan farmer on there.
He's really regretting that whole thing, and I feel bad because I should have said something, but I was like, I don't know, and it did crack me up even more when Harlan got in on that, and I was like, man, everyone's getting it to you, like,
oh no,
there's no escaping.
If that's the worst thing you've ever said, he's fine. I mean, I've said some way dumber things in my life, so that's just a joke. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, like I said, I got to head out.
All right, man. It was. We'll definitely get you on again. I'm planning. I mean, like I said, I have my list of people, and I'm planning on having people on kind of on a regular thing, just to, you know, like I said, just kind of bullshit and talk chondros, because that's what the whole thing's about, and keeping it loose, keeping it casual.
Okay. Hey, well, I will definitely be listening to the next ones. I'm excited. And again, thanks for having me on, and have a nice night, man.
You too, man.
Take it easy.
Later. All right, y'all. First episode of ChondroCast. My boy Luke. It's a good episode. Really excited to start doing this. Like I said, it'll be a regular thing. I'm hoping. I have plans for it to be. Got some cool people to get on here.